Hey Canonites, welcome back. The past weekend saw the launch of the traveling Halo experience known as Outpost Discovery, and to get the word out, 343 invited me and a few other big names in the Halo community out to Orlando to get the first hands-on experience a day early and experience the Outpost in all its glory upon launch on Friday, July 5th. I had a lot of fun while I was there despite catching a cold, as you can probably still hear. And today I'd like to walk y'all through the show, talk about what I liked, what didn't work, and where things can improve. And again, I was flown out on 343's bill and given some free swag, so keep that in mind when I share my thoughts. With that all out of the way, I'll go over each attraction individually, then talk about my overall thoughts on the event. So let's dive in. Starting on Tuesday, July 4th, we got a look at the Outpost before it was open to the public so we could experience the attractions on our own. When entering Outpost Discovery, the first area contained an information kiosk and a cosplay section. I didn't spend much time at the cosplay area, but there were places for people to suit up, prepare their costumes, learn more about cosplaying, and various places to take photos. Though my experience in this area is limited, it seemed like an ideal setup for cosplay support, especially given the involvement of the 405th cosplaying community, Halo's primary cosplay community. I can say that I saw a lot of people hanging out around there on Friday, so it seemed popular enough. After that, we entered the main area for Outpost Discovery, which starts with the Hall of History. If you've seen my videos on the Halo Museum at 343's headquarters, or recall the Museum of Humanity in Halo 3's Believe campaign, the Hall of History has spiritual connections to both. Walking around, people can get a general overview of human history in the Halo universe, from the interplanetary wars of the 2160s to the end of the Human Covenant War. Upon entering, people are supposed to get an introduction from the AI Gabriella, but she wasn't up and running while I was there. There was apparently some kind of audio issue or something that couldn't be fixed without opening up Gabriella's kiosk, so it wasn't really being fixed until Friday night when I was leaving and up and running on Saturday. Back to the hall though, there were all kinds of displays, such as a life-size statue of a Sangheili Ultra and the Master Chief, a scale wall showing just how big each member of the Covenant is, and various artifacts of the Halo universe, from a Needler to an AR to a replica of Noble Six's helmet. We'll talk a bit more about the specifics of that in another video though. One of the coolest aspects of the Hall of History was its interaction with the Halo Outpost app. Using the scanning feature, certain images would bring up an augmented reality image, model, or video, such as the Pillar of Autumn flying through space, a render of Reach, or an image of Drs. Tobias Shaw and Wallace Fujikawa, inventors of the slipspace drive. There were also UNSC staff versed in various fields such as slipspace or xenobiology or weaponry walking around, which can give folks deeper insights into the universe. It's a great way to further immerse people into the experience. From there, we were given a look at the Ring experience. In its full glory, the Ring experience starts with another sort of museum tour, familiarizing guests with the Halos and what they do. This included a replica of a section of Delta Halo, a deactivated Sentinel from Gamma Halo, the Index from Delta Halo, a captured Flood form, and a replica of 343 Guilty Spark. But the pièce de résistance is the Ring experience itself, where Gabriella takes control of a honeybee drone on an unidentified installation and flies people across the ring and through its inner workings. This part lasts for roughly 5 minutes, with the larger experience lasting closer to 20 minutes to half an hour, I want to say. I personally went through it 3 times between Thursday and Friday and loved it each time. Oh my god! After that, we got to check out the combat deck, aka laser tag. This was more than simple laser tag, however, as it did have Halo elements. Players had health and shields which could be recovered after a few seconds, they had to reload their weapons after a number of shots, and there were respawn mechanics. It really felt like playing war games in real life. To boot, there were player stats at the end giving you kills, deaths, accuracy percentages, and a score. It was a ton of fun. There were also 2 modes we got to check out, one with fully automatic guns and a snipers mode. Both were an absolute blast, but the sniper mode definitely took the cake, and I think most people would agree with that. From there, we did the Pelican training, which is an almost escape room-like experience. 8 people work together to keep a Pelican from crashing, completing various tasks. My team unfortunately had to do it twice to finish things, but it was a ton of fun both times. Next, we did the VR experience known as the Training Grounds, where we put on VR headsets and got to fight on a changing virtual battlefield. Unfortunately, I couldn't really capture footage of this, but suffice it to say, it was a lot of fun. It's familiar to the Halo experience, but obviously you can do stuff like reach your gun around corners, which you can't do in the games. If I had one suggestion for improvement here, it would be to add more gun variety. We only had the plasma pistol available to us, and while certainly fun, I would love to see more. The last thing I did on preview day was the target range, where you can shoot Boomco Halo guns at virtual targets. It turned out to be a lot more fun and a lot more challenging than I would have expected. Sadly, the Covenant escape room wasn't up and running during the preview, but I made a point to try it out the next day. The experience is comprised of 2 rooms, each with a couple challenges to figure out. They're pretty basic, I say, even though my team actually failed, and it's far from the highlight of the experience. By Friday, it was being billed as something geared more towards children, and I can definitely see why after being in there. Though unrealistic for this year, I do hope we can see some improvement by next year's Outpost. Finally, let's talk about the marketplace. As 343's invited guests, we each got 2 free items of our choice. I personally picked up the Outpost exclusive hardcover of Halo Lone Wolf, along with a Mega Construx Hornet. The next day I spent a good $200 on swag, including a cup, a water bottle, a few pins, some shirts, and a bit more. I'm not listing this to brag, mind you, but to make a point. The prices, to me, seemed pretty fair given my experience at other conventions and theme parks. And that's really good considering how much people are paying for entry. So overall, I had an absolutely stellar time and thoroughly enjoyed the attractions, talking to 343, and the other stuff I got to do. I played some Halo Reach on PC, which was a lot of fun. There are a ton of game stations for people to enjoy Halo in its various forms, from MCC to ODST Firefight. I got to participate in a Halo game show, which was a lot of fun, and the one panel I got to attend was great too. One of the top highlights, though, was getting to talk to the people at the Falcons Creative Group table, the people behind the Ring experience. They were some very nice folks, clearly passionate about Halo and what they do, and to my surprise, they'd seen my video breakdown of the Ring experience trailer from last month. That absolutely blew my mind and showed to me that they are very aware of the Halo community and its opinions on their work. Overall, it was a fantastic experience with a lot to offer. But if you've been following social media, or especially been on the Halo subreddit, I'm sure you've seen by now that not everything was golden. As noted, not every attraction was up and running even during Thursday's preview event, and while we were there were some bugs in the system. Late Night Gaming had to get his VR headset a software update while we were doing training grounds, for example. And during the actual event, Gabriella's introduction was down, and there were regular issues with each attraction. In my own experience, the Ring experience had a couple issues which delayed things for a while, and same with the Covenant Escape. I also heard that the Combat Deck laser tag attraction was down for a good 45 minutes at one point, with people just sitting there, nothing to do. And speaking of wait times, we gotta talk about wait times. I was lucky in that I only had to wait an hour for the 2 attractions I did on Friday. Note I only had time for 2 really. But I heard tales of waits up to 3 hours, both online and from people that were attending. But perhaps worse than all that were the signings with Steve Downes and Jen Taylor. People were waiting long times, and eventually there was like a random raffle held. I didn't get all the details, unfortunately. I'm sure they're out there. From what I did hear, this was a decision either by the event hosts or the convention center, not necessarily 343, but that's just what I heard. But regardless of who made the decision, it simply wasn't right. People had been waiting long times and they got absolutely screwed over. It's unacceptable. The VIP lounge that's advertised as a perk was very sparse, and I didn't see many people taking advantage of it, at least not while I was there. There were apparently also people in the lounge that weren't VIPs, so that's kind of an issue. Although I did see later on that there were people like Bonnie Ross and Steve Downes and Jen Taylor in there, so maybe I just picked the worst times to go in. The times I were in, though, all that was in there were basically a couple Xbox 360 setups for classic Halo, and a 2-person Fireteam Raven cabinet. Tables had a few books scattered about. Other than getting some better hardware, I'm not sure how else to improve all that. But again, I personally didn't have much interest in the lounge initially, and apparently I missed out on some stuff, so maybe my feedback's moot. But that does bring up another particular annoyance: leaving and re-entering the outpost. If a person wanted to go to the VIP lounge or to a panel, or, if you lost something you had to go to check the lost and found, you would have to actually leave the outpost And if you want to back in, that would mean going through a second security check. And this is a full security check too, like wallet and phone out, opening your bags and packs, etc. If there's a way to keep all of Outpost's activities behind the same set of doors so you don't have to do this security check so often, that would be a massive improvement. And another major point of improvement that I would suggest is the hours of operation for Friday. Currently, the schedule on Fridays is 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. with an hour before and after for VIP badge owners. In my experience, most congoers who are attending a convention with a Friday start will arrive a day before, so I think starting at 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. for VIPs and going to 6 or 7, which is how they're currently doing it on Saturdays, might be more optimal, especially for the crew. I can't imagine getting out around 10 p.m. and then starting at 9 a.m. the next morning is very fun. But for myself, waiting around on Friday morning was just boring. There was nothing really to do except hang out with some fellow Halo fans, which, mind you, was fun, but not the primary reason I was attending. And the only reason I got to hang out with some fellow Halo fans was because I knew they were in town. They were, the same people that I was attending with. So, yeah. The last thing I absolutely have to bring up is the Halo Outpost app. Though I praised what it could do a little earlier, how it performed left a lot to be desired. To start, the name seems a bit odd given the full name of the event is Halo Outpost Discovery. I know the social media hashtag is Halo Outpost, but still, I think using the full Outpost Discovery for the app would be a good idea, especially with the publisher for the app being Hersend Live rather than 343 Industries or Microsoft. It would make for a stronger brand association, I think. But names are a minor annoyance overall. When the app launched, it released in a broken state on iOS only, and by the time it came to Android, the Xbox Live integration that it was supposed to have had been removed because it was so damn broken. The app itself is also a 200 megabyte download, so you better download it at home before you go to the event. Doing so on site is nearly impossible or just takes way too long, and it's all related to the AR stuff I mentioned earlier. When it finally is downloaded, the app can often fail to launch or crash, and even if you do get it open, if you lock your phone, the app will often crash or freeze and need to be relaunched. I even had one instance, and I know it's kind of stupid, where I opened it, accidentally locked my phone, don't ask, and immediately unlocked it only to find the app had black screened. And then when I tried to relaunch it, the damn thing just wouldn't work. The scanning feature used to scan your badge and barcodes at the various events to track your activities and progress had constant problems, often not even working for people. The scanning of the Hall of History items were far less problematic, but even that wasn't entirely free of issues. The app was also barely advertised, at least as far as I saw, and I can't say it's the most intuitive or responsive app. I only just discovered what some of those scannables unlock while making this video, and the app can take far too long to respond at times. In summation, the app needs a lot of fine-tuning before future Outpost events. Now thankfully, 343 are very much aware of this and all the other issues brought up with Outpost Discovery, and are working with the event organizers to ensure smooth operations at future events. As I will be attending the Chicago event out of my own pocket this time, for a full 3 days, I plan to make a video at that time, around the start of August, to compare and contrast how Outpost has improved since Orlando, and I really want 343 to nail this. I want Outpost to do well overall. I want Outpost to continue and to spread so more fans can experience it. Because in its rawest form, in its purest form, I'm butchering this a bit, but I hope you get my point. In its purest form, Outpost can be a Halo fan's dream. It is diving into the Halo universe in ways that are open to people of all ages, of all interests. So please, 343, I'm rooting for you. To wrap things up, I had a fun time despite the numerous issues. The peak of the event was hanging out with fellow Halo fans and actually meeting some of you Canaanites out there. Being recognized in public is a surreal and humbling experience, let me tell you. Hopefully I'll get to meet even more of you in Chicago. But for now, let me know your thoughts on Outpost Discovery in the comments below, and leave any questions you have as well, as I'll be looking at answering them next time as we dive into the lore of Halo Outpost Discovery. Until then, this has been Halo Canon, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing, and if you really love me, hit that notification bell and leave a thumbs up. These both really help out the channel. I wouldn't be where I am now without your views and support, so once again, thank you. Keep on being awesome, Canonites.